Hi everyone, Danny Bader here, and welcome to another episode of Back to Life, our podcast where I interview people from all walks of life to hear their stories and the insight and wisdom they've gained on this wonderful journey called life. So enjoy the episode and be sure to pay attention to what inspires you to create more happiness and fulfillment in your life, because that's what we're here for, right? Hi everybody, it's Danny Bader. And dropping in here to give you some things on Facebook Live that may support you through this difficult time and through this wonderful journey called life. I'm also going to use this video as a podcast for our Back to Life podcast. So when I do those most times, as you've seen, I really like to go out and I like to have people next to me in person rather than do them through some type of Zoom video. So given that we're social distancing right now, I was kind of thinking, who could I get for a Facebook Live and for another edition of our podcast, Back to Life? And lo and behold, I was very lucky that I got this young lady here to spend a few minutes with me, Lizzy. So Lizzy, welcome to our Back to Life podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And why don't you tell folks a little bit about who you are? Who is Lizzy?
So I'm 19. I live in Kennett Square my whole life. I am now a freshman at University of Pennsylvania on the cross country and track and field teams, studying biology and nutrition science, and absolutely loving my first year there. Have no complaints, and it's really my favorite place on earth.
Good. But you're not there now.
I'm not. No.
You're not there now. So I had the pleasure of going to Aruba in March, and I was down there. I had to do some work. That was tough, right, at the Marriott and the Ritz-Carlton down there. And when I was down there, I got a text from my wife, and it said, "Can you talk?" Now, you all know that when you get a text that says, "Can you talk?" there's usually not some good news coming after that. So I said, "Give me a couple minutes." I called her, whatever. And she said to me, University of Pennsylvania has closed school for the rest of the semester. Lizzy, those of you that don't know, her last name is Bader. This is our youngest child and our only daughter. So Lisa said, University of Pennsylvania is canceled, spring track is canceled, and Lizzy's really upset. I was getting on a plane the next day to come home. So I thought I would spend some time talking with Lizzy and letting her share some of her insight and how she, as a 19-year-old, has dealt with the difficult time that we have right now with this COVID-19 virus. So what happened as soon as you got the news? Where were you when you got the news?
So I was actually just coming out of a sports massage, and so I just had a great hour talking with my masseuse, who's I really love, and we have great conversations. I was so uplifted every time I come out. I feel really great after that, both physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever. And so coming from that high, I get into my car with an abundance of text and whatnot, and I'm like, what's happening? I'm freaking out. I just been up at school the day before. Even though it was spring break, I drove up because we're so close to do a workout with my coach and teammates there. So everything was fine. They were scheduled. My teammates who had made it to NCAA Nationals were scheduled to go to New Mexico in 2 days, and everything was fine. So coming out of this, I really went into shock, and also I think, although it might sound dramatic, I started the stages of grief with anger, of course. So
no drama here, trust me.
I at first, my first initial reaction, I just really was in disbelief and anger, and I just didn't understand why such rational decisions could be made so far in advance. Mm-hmm. They had to cancel our whole season. I couldn't go back to school. Mm-hmm. It was just a lot of overwhelming emotion, I think, coming especially out of something that I'd missed for an hour, all of this discussion, mm-hmm. to being hit with it, and I was just really upset, mm-hmm. and that was my first reaction. Yeah.
So total overwhelm trying to process everything.
Yeah, with a lot of disbelief.
A lot of disbelief. So what's in that disbelief, what's the self-talk? What was going through if we could listen to your mind, what were you saying to yourself at that point?
Yeah, honestly, it probably wasn't great. I think I was just really angry.
Well, you can keep out the curse words that you probably inherited from me.
Well, I inherited a lot of good things too.
Yeah, thank you. But what were they saying?
They were basically saying You know,
Hi, Haley and Trish Scott
I
on
was
there. Say
calling
hi to
my,
Haley and
oh,
Trish.
hi.
Wanted to make sure volume was good.
I was
So
calling
what
my
was
friends.
going through your head?
I was like, I have to call my friends. I have to talk to people because I had to drive home, and I was like, I'm gonna crash
But
this
what were you
car.
saying besides this sucks? Because that's the first thing you said to me.
I was like,
What else?
yeah, this sucks. All of this, like, hard work for the spring season now, like, is that just going to be wasted? Like, how is school going to work? How is practice going to work? Am I not going to see my friends now? Can I try to visit them? I'm going to go up and visit them. Like,
Sure.
we were trying to make other plans. Oh, we'll go back to Philly. I'll stay with upperclassmen if I get kicked out of my dorm. And just
But
really
a lot of negative energy, right?
lot,
In the
yeah.
beginning, a lot of the processing. So then what happened the next couple of days? When you came home.
Yeah,
And
I
then
was
what
home
was
because
happening?
of spring break, so we were
Right.
already home. But so that was on a Wednesday, I guess. And that next day, Thursday, my mom, Luke, and I were supposed to go to the Big East tournament in New York, which I looked forward to for so long because it was my first year going when my brothers had gone and experienced it, and I was really excited. So we were planning on leaving that Thursday morning to head up to New York, and instead I actually went up to Philly to completely clean out my dorm room and move out and say goodbye to college for this semester.
Right, right. So first couple days, first couple weeks for all of us, right? And this was a little bit of shock, a little bit of that negative self-talk, disbelief. Do you think you did at some point, did you surrender to this whole thing?
I think
Because in the
absolutely.
beginning you were kind of fighting it, right? This sucks. I remember you told me we were going to protest. We're going to write letters to the president of the University of Pennsylvania. They don't know what they're talking about. They're stupid. And I'm like, well, the president of the University of Pennsylvania is not stupid. But
Yeah.
I get it, right? But then, so one of the big keys in resilience is the ability for us to surrender, right? And many of you liked when I talked about you got caught in a riptide in the ocean. That's more powerful than you. Mother Ocean is more powerful than the majority of us, unless you're like an Olympic swimmer. And most times they even know. You got to go with it for a little while, right? And surrender, not from a place of weakness. You know, to surrender is the definition, is to cease resisting that which is something stronger than you. So in some cases in life, we're not going to surrender. We're going to fight like hell, right? But we have to recognize the bigger forces, and you did that. So what was that transition like when you finally said, okay, I got to kind of give into this? What happened there?
So, yeah, I definitely thought that this was a time where I could be stronger and kind of fight for what we believed. And then I think my resistance, my lack of resistance and the ability to surrender really stemmed from gratitude, because I kind of changed my perspective after a few days passed and things were getting severely worse, and I realized, wow, like I was really overreacting. There are people in this world who are really being affected by this. This isn't just, oh, school's canceled. So it turned in when I had like really kind of gotten over the anger and really could like stop being selfish and having the negativity. I really just put in perspective the view of the world, and I was like, things are a lot worse for a lot of other people,
Right.
because of Corona, but also because of just life. Like, some people don't even have the ability to go to college or to do athletics. And I was like, wow, I just really have to step back and be grateful that I'm still here and that I have a loving family and house to come back to, whereas a lot of people didn't have that.
And 3 more years, right?
Right. And
3
then
more
I,
years of college.
of course, put in perspective all my seniors. Even the seniors in high school, thinking how this is going to be the best few months of their life is taken away from them. So I was kind of in an ideal, optimal spot. Everyone is in the same, like, everyone's going through it. So it's really something you can't control. Like your Instagram today, like, it's out of your hands. So I just realized, like, okay, now I got to take action. I got to work with what I have, and I got to make a plan, because as a person, I just have to function with structure and a plan. And I took what I couldn't control and made something that I could control, I think.
Right, got it. So the whole key was resistance, right? The resistance is all that anger, it's all that negative, it's I can control this. And then the resilience, which is our powerful capacity to move through tough times. Resilience happens when we remove resistance. So my hope, my trust for all of you watching right now is you've gotten to the surrender phase 3-4 weeks into this. If not, you think about what you're saying, because that resistance right now probably not going to serve us too well. We only have a certain amount of energy, right? Don't place it on resistance and fighting when you can place it on resilience of creating, right, what we're creating. So what did you do? You went into mode there, right? What did you do? She tried to take over my office, and that was not going to happen.
I knew if
Part
this
time.
whole online school thing was going to happen and everything, I had to set up something because I just know as a person I can't focus in my room. I would get nothing done, and it's just not a good way to be.
Right.
So, fortunately, a few years back, we actually a little redid the basement per my requests. And so I asked my mom to kind of help me. I spent the first few days completely unpacking and organizing all my stuff from college and stuff here, and donated a bunch of stuff and got that all situated. And then once school had started, I put a desk down, moved all of my school stuff down, so that's just where I would focus on school and stay in the basement for that.
So really important, I think, for people. One thing take away for people at home there is create some space for yourself that's going to put you into a different frame of focus. You know, whether it's an office, whether it's a kitchen table, but somewhere create some space that supports what you need to do in that space. You know.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think it's cool how you've done that.
That's different with no distractions, and that kind of mimics your normal routine. So like my desk in my dorm room or somewhere I was familiar with studying, where I could get things done and stay concentrated and separate that from like a distraction or
right. And I bought you a candle because every good workspace should have a candle or at least a few sea candle.
Yeah.
So you're down there and you're working now. And what's the thought around track and cross country? How did you what are you doing now? Because you're already spring track and pen relays and all that good stuff. Ivy League championships.
Yeah, this was probably one of the hardest points also to kind of tackle. But thankfully, I have like the best coaches and team and everyone there supporting you and being there for you and knowing we're a family and we're all in this together. So my coach has been so gracious. I've been so gracious for my coach to completely write up like a training plan for the next few weeks. So they kind of gave us the flexibility. If you wanted to take a few weeks down to rest, get your body back up, if you wanted to start training for cross country, or if you wanted to continue what we would be doing, training for track. At this time, like in the beginning, we didn't know if there was hopes for summer meets or whatnot. So I was like, you know, I love what I do. That's why I do it. So I'm going to continue with what would have happened, because through this whole thing, my main goal is to create a sense of normalcy. And I liked where I was going. I liked how my fitness was improving. So I was just going to stay on track. So I've been working out every day. So kind of just like the same schedule I would be doing at school, just a little more lonesome.
But this is not really normal, right?
No.
So I think it's normal. You know, a lot of that phrase is going around right now where people are going, you know, this is the new normal, and you got to get used to the new normal. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, my investments are down 30%. That's not normal. I haven't been to Mass and received the Eucharist in a month. That's not normal. Our dear niece's wedding has been pushed back 2 times. That's not normal. I'm in a house with just Lizzy and Lisa. No complaints, of course. And that's not normal. And my business, which is going out and speaking and having workshops for people, I don't know when I'm going to do that again. So that's not normal. So people say you got to get used to the new normal. I'm calling bullshit on that. This is not normal, and this is not the way that I believe these things will stay. You know, right. So I get it. You have to be adaptable and all those things. Absolutely. But you know, when I talk about surrender, I don't want you to accept this as the new normal. We will get through this with the medical minds we have and the leaders in this country and all. We'll get through this. So yeah, how do you think about the other side of this? I mean, will you ever run in Franklin Field again, or is this over?
No.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think for the time, of course, this is not normal, and it shouldn't be normal, and you shouldn't have that mindset, because we're always envisioning the future and trying to work towards bigger goals of like optimism and positivity. But I think for now, I do have to focus on creating things to be as normal as they would have been, in order of maintaining a schedule, staying fit, staying up on schoolwork, and just like living your best life despite the circumstances. Yep. However, looking forward, I think that you just have to, there's so much uncertainty that you can't really put negativity towards it, because you just don't know what you're being negative towards. So really your only option is just to be hopeful, because the world is not going to like go like this forever.
No.
So each day, I think, not even each day because they get jumbled together. But I think you just really have to like use your support system. So reach out to your friends and family. There's so many ways, thankfully, with technology now. And seeing their faces reminds you of just like how one more day closer we are to returning to the normal. And I think you just have to be really thankful for everyone who's on the front lines and experiencing this day to day and working for us. And I think you have to respect that and really, really social distance and do what you're told to do, because without that, you're just like really halting it.
Yeah. So I think Lizzy makes a key point there I wanted to kind of break down that whole thing of the new normal for you and maybe challenge how you're thinking about that. I did a great interview with a buddy of mine, Chick Kelly, and he said one time, Chick had a real bad tragic ice hockey accident when he was a freshman in college that left him in a wheelchair. And you go watch that podcast. He's a tremendous inspiration. But I remember Chick tells the story, and he said when they took the trach out of him when he was in the hospital, and he said, man, I can get up now. I can move around. I can go to physical therapy. He said, I was going to go live my life as close to as it would have been if this didn't happen. And that's kind of what Lizzy just offered to all of us right now. How can we go live our life as close to what we imagined it would be if coronavirus didn't happen for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months? So it's not disregarding that. It's not unicorns and rainbows and positive thinking, oh, this is okay. It's not okay. But we have to figure out how to move through it.
Yeah.
So I think what you want to do is think and say, what did the rest of my year look like? Prayerfully, this thing starts to wind down in May, June. I know there's all kinds of different opinions about it. But what I'm doing and what Lizzy's doing, and I would offer you to do, what's the second half of your year look like? If you have a really good 6 months at the end of this year, July through December, having gone through this, what's that look like? And then get focused on that, what needs to happen. So that's where all the action comes in. That's where all the schoolwork comes in. That's where all the exercise and the nutrition. That comes in for me, marketing the second edition of the book and webinars and all. How do I still drive my revenue in my business, which just shriveled up almost? Well, I had a vision for revenue for this year, and you gotta kind of keep that, right?
Yeah.
So it's not creating the new normal. I would say it's about figuring out how you can continue to produce what you wanted to produce in your life.
Yeah.
Within your control.
I think you shouldn't make excuses for this, and I think your goals shouldn't change. They're just being postponed. I think I'm drawing a lot of inspiration from a lot of the words of the Olympians, especially pro runners, because that's what I'm following. I've just been like really amazed by their like positivity and them saying, yeah, this isn't what we planned for, but it's not canceled. The Olympics aren't canceled, just like life's not canceled. It's just postponed. So they're doing everything they can to be prepared for when the time comes that they can lace up and hit the track.
Who said that? Life's not canceled. I like that. Is that one? Who's that girl you follow, that runner?
That's me.
I like that. Life's not canceled. Right on. You said it.
But
I'm stealing that one.
But I really do think that, really have been inspired by them, that you got to be prepared for the next opportunity you can race. But then I've also taken that, like a lot of things I learned from running, to whole life. So you got to be prepared for anything that's gonna come. It's just gonna come to fruition a little later than you planned.
You got it. Cool. So I asked Lizzy, what other challenges have you had in life when we were talking about the interview a little bit here? And she said, well, not too many, really. And I said, well, I remember you fell off that balance beam a few times when you were like 11 years old, and the world was over. Life as we knew it ended. But she had some wonderful coaches to get her back up on the balance beam, right? And then we had to put our dog Nova down a few years ago, and that was a tough time for us to get through that. So, somebody said to me once, I said, life's not perfect, and they challenged me, and they said, life is perfectly imperfect. If there's not imperfect times, there's no growth. So if everything is normal, chances are there's not a lot of opportunity for us to grow. So it's in these times of challenge and where we have to be persistent and move through them. That's where the growth happens. So I also want everybody, look, how are you going to come out of this? I just talked to one guy today. He's down because he has more time now. He's doing more working out. He's down 12 pounds. In a month. He's a great guy, married, couple kids. He's figuring it out with his wife, and the kids are at home.
Yeah.
And he said, man, I'm coming out of this down 20 pounds. And I'm like, you get what you focus on, my friends, you know?
Yeah.
So what 3 things would you offer to anybody out there, students, your teammates, anybody at all that's just struggling through this? What are 2 or 3 things that they should start to focus on?
I think one, which I touched on, is the main point for me, is to really change your perspective, and have and really be grateful for what you have, because odds are you're a lot luckier and just living a lot better life than other people. So you should really be grateful for all that you have, your health, your family, whatever you have. It's just really, like, I would focus on that to inspire you to do every day and live every day like as you should, because my one favorite quote too that I touch on is, I don't have to, I get to. So you should really just be mindful of that and focus on that to go forward. I think that's my main thing that helps me. I think the second one, which I've so gratefully inherited from you and everything you teach me, is to have your vision. I know he talks about it a lot on here, and people may be like, oh God, again.
Yo,
but I swear.
All right, we're finished. Thanks a lot for joining us.
I swear it's really impactful and beneficial for you to keep and hold vision. I think it's equivalent kind of to what we learn as young children, to set goals and to work hard towards them. So I think having your vision will really keep you inspired and like to work hard to your best.
So have you had a vision of next year? Have you had a vision of cross country? Have you had a vision of HEPS indoor? I mean, what have you seen yourself doing that might be 6-8 months in advance right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I have, and I can even attest that it's true, because I did this last year before I went to college and things came to fruition. So I think there's definitely power in it. I just am really excited and looking forward to like August, moving in with my like 3 best friends to our new apartment and really getting like a kickoff of cross country. We have a really strong team this year, just like last year, and I'm just really excited for what we'll be able to do. Good. Especially with a lot of mindsets, like a lot of our team is really just focusing on the positives and how we can be prepared for what comes next, and that's going to be racing and cross country season. So definitely looking forward and having visions for a lot of things. Be
thankful, reframe things, right? Look around. We worry about coronavirus. There's people every day that worry about water and food. Yeah. Right? We can reframe it. Have a vision. See yourself in the future. Hold on to that vision. Your brain doesn't know the difference between reality and imagination. That's the power. So when you imagine something's good, right, the brain's going to start to release some good chemicals in there to put you in a more resilient state. And then you think, okay, what actions can I be taking right now that are going to get me there in 6, 8, 10 months? Are good. What's a third thing? Got a third thing?
Third thing, I think you just got to work hard, never give up. I think you have to do that in all aspects of life. I think you're never really going to grow unless you test yourself and work hard and set like a strict like expectations on yourself.
Yeah. Aunt Trish and Uncle Bob like Alan and Uncle Joe Mullen.
Everyone who's been in this fortunate life, 19 years of mine with very little hard times, have taught me that you're only going to become stronger if you push yourself and work hard, and you can't ever give up on yourself. So
that's it, right? So be thankful, reframe things, hold a vision for yourself, and get up every day, say some good things. You write that opening line, and then work your ass off towards those things. Cool. You want to give a shout out to any of your teammates out there? Oh, Penn people I love.
Miss you.
Let's go, Quakers.
Can't wait to see everyone's face in person.
Yes, it will be sometimes. So how lucky was I to have such a fabulous guest in my office?
I'm honored.
Thank you so much, my dear.
Thank you.
All right, I hope you enjoyed our little drop-in. We'll put this in as a podcast too, but thank you, Diz. I love you. Proud of you.
We can do this.
Love you all. Be good, stay healthy, support one another. Peace out. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Back to Life. Our conversation sure got me thinking about some things that I need to pay attention to in my life. And I trust the same occurred for you as well. So until next time, each day when you come back to life, be sure to always be inspired.